In this podcast, political commentator Dan Bongino discusses the upcoming 2024 election and shares his insights on the potential outcomes. Bongino predicts that Donald Trump will win the election based on the shifting demographics of his coalition. He highlights the support Trump has garnered from Hispanic, Black, and Union voters, which was previously uncommon for the Republican Party. Bongino attributes Trump's success to his ability to connect with working-class Americans and his straightforward, transactional approach to politics. Bongino emphasizes that Trump's appeal lies in his willingness to challenge the political establishment and his ability to speak plainly to voters. He contrasts Trump's approach with traditional Republican messaging, noting that Trump's authenticity and relatability have resonated with a broader base of supporters. He also acknowledges Trump's impulsiveness, but views it as a unique strength that sets him apart from other politicians. The conversation delves into the differences between Trump's 2020 and 2024 campaigns. Bongino acknowledges the challenges Trump faced in the 2020 election, including media bias, institutional obstacles, and changes to voting rules. While Bongino believes there was interference in the 2020 election, he does not attribute Trump's loss solely to electoral fraud. He suggests that Trump's improved standing in the polls for the 2024 election is a result of voters reevaluating his leadership in contrast to President Biden's performance. Bongino highlights the importance of state parties in determining the outcome of the election, particularly in swing states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. He notes that Trump's expanding support in states like Nevada indicates a potential shift in the electoral map. Bongino highlights the challenges faced by the Michigan and Wisconsin Republican parties in recent election cycles, noting their efficacy and the impact of mail-in balloting on election outcomes. He expresses concerns about the vulnerabilities of mail-in voting to fraud, but acknowledges the need to adapt to the current system. He emphasizes the need for strong turnout efforts and effective messaging from the Republican Party to secure victory in key battleground states. The conversation shifts to Joe Biden's presidency, with Bongino critiquing Biden's handling of various issues, including the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan and the subsequent decline in his approval ratings. He points out that Biden's image as a stable and competent leader has been tarnished by his administration's missteps and controversies. He highlights Biden's lack of emotional control and cognitive decline, suggesting that these factors contribute to his unpopularity among voters. Bongino speculates on the possibility of Joe Biden being replaced as the Democratic nominee, citing internal party dynamics and the need for a more viable candidate. He dismisses the idea of Michelle Obama entering the race, citing her aversion to politics and public life. He suggests that Vice President Kamala Harris or other prominent Democrats could step in if Biden were to voluntarily step aside or face pressure from the party. The discussion delves into the ideological divisions within the Republican Party, particularly regarding economic policies and trade. Bongino acknowledges his evolution from a staunch free trader to a more nuanced position on tariffs and trade relations, influenced by strategic considerations and national security concerns. He emphasizes the importance of addressing entitlement programs and fiscal responsibility within the party, warning against the long-term consequences of unchecked spending. Bongino reflects on the impact of Donald Trump's leadership on the Republican Party, noting the broadening of the party's coalition and the challenges of maintaining ideological coherence. He highlights Trump's pragmatic approach to governance, which blends conservative instincts with populist rhetoric. In considering the future of the Republican Party, Bongino emphasizes the need for clarity on key policy issues, including entitlement reform and fiscal responsibility. He underscores the importance of addressing the growing national debt and the unsustainable nature of current entitlement programs. He calls for honesty and transparency in communicating with voters, particularly younger generations, about the need for fiscal discipline and long-term planning. Bongino delves into the complexities of foreign policy, particularly in the context of the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. He highlights the importance of defining clear objectives and interests when engaging in foreign interventions. He emphasizes the need for a strategic approach that prioritizes peace through strength, drawing parallels to Reagan's policies during the Cold War. He underscores the significance of maintaining a strong military presence to deter potential adversaries while avoiding unnecessary conflicts. The conversation also touches upon the role of the United States in providing aid to Ukraine and the potential consequences of escalating military involvement. Bongino expresses concerns about the lack of clarity in the Biden administration's approach to the conflict, criticizing the administration for not articulating a clear strategy for supporting Ukraine. He emphasizes the need for a balanced approach that combines financial assistance with diplomatic efforts to de-escalate tensions and prevent further Russian aggression. The discussion shifts to the recent conflict between Israel and Hamas, with Bongino and Shapiro condemning the terrorist activities of Hamas and expressing support for Israel's right to defend itself. They highlight the moral clarity of the situation, emphasizing the need to differentiate between legitimate self-defense and terrorist actions. Bongino shares personal anecdotes from his experiences in the Middle East, illustrating the deep-rooted animosity towards Israel and the challenges of navigating complex geopolitical dynamics in the region. He criticizes the lack of understanding and empathy towards Israel in Western societies, pointing out the dangerous implications of siding with terrorist groups like Hamas. He underscores the importance of recognizing Israel's efforts to maintain security and stability in the face of constant threats and attacks. The podcast also delves into the evolving dynamics within the Republican Party, particularly regarding foreign policy and national security issues. Bongino discusses the shifting perspectives on interventionism and isolationism within the party, highlighting the need for a nuanced approach that prioritizes America's interests and strategic objectives. He critiques the tendency to label individuals as neocons or isolationists without considering the broader context of their policy positions. Bongino emphasizes the importance of clarity and honesty in political discourse, calling for a more transparent and evidence-based approach to decision-making. He highlights the need for a realistic assessment of America's interests in global conflicts and the potential consequences of military interventions.